if I really love this decision. Over the middle, got his man, and look at him go! Jalen Waddle for the touchdown!
Welcome to Inside Leverage, your gateway to the fascinating realm of the Miami Dolphins. Join us as we delve deep into the team's dynamic Super Bowl journey. We invite you to share your most scorching takes, unwind, and relish in our captivating experience.
Blocked by Armstead. Going, he's got him! He's got him! Tyreek Hill! And the Dolphins have come back!
A big play on the first one! Home run! Play one! To the house! What a start for the Dolphins!
It's Inside Leverage. We always gonna put on the show, baby. That's what we do.
Quickly get to our guest really quick. Thank you so much for joining us. Could you go ahead and give us a quick breakdown and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I mean, you folks probably listen to me on the Giants WFAN radio network or watch me on the Giants programming on MSG or Giants.com with the Big Blue Kickoff live show. I'm in my 41st consecutive year covering the New York Giants, so I am what's known as a old guy. Obviously, if you've ever listened to any of my stuff, you know I believe in football 101. I believe in principles that were taught to me by George Young and Bill Parcells, Tom Coughlin, Dan Reeves, and those kinds of guys, Ernie Accorsi. I don't believe in fantasy football, and I don't believe in Xbox and Madden football video games. I'm all about the real game, the X's and the O's between the sidelines.
Well, Paul, from one old guy to another, I appreciate that sentiment, and I can tell you that I am familiar with your work, and it is an honor to have you on with us and giving us a little rundown and some background on what's going on up in Big Blue Land.
Well, I tell you, today we actually got to see Saquon Barkley take some limited reps in practice, far beyond what he had done since he sprained his ankle. That's a good sign. I'd say the arrow is certainly pointing in the direction that he has a real chance to play against Miami. His absence has been felt immeasurably in so many ways, which is why all these fools who continue to insist that running backs should be undervalued and aren't that important and are a dying breed and blah, 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 blah. They're full of you-know-what. It depends on the team. You can't make a blanket statement and say that running backs are just not that important. Ask the 49ers where they'd be without Christian McCaffrey, and I guarantee you they would not be 4-0 right now. There are certain backs and certainly certain teams where that guy holds tremendous value and has a tremendous amount of impact on what that team can do and will do. Barkley is one of those guys. So having said that, without Barkley and then without left tackle Andrew Thomas the last couple of weeks, the Giants have been dramatically impacted more than anybody could even imagine. And you know what they say sometimes, you don't really understand how valuable somebody is or miss them as much as you should until they're gone. Well, we all know that Barkley and Andrew Thomas are now absolutely critical to the Giants' chances to win games.
And don't we know it for sure? Because we missed our center last game. And when I tell you, that affect a lot of what we
sure did.
Are so good at. So I wanted to ask you, and I wanted to kind of verify from you, this offense. Does this offense run through Barkley, or do you think it's just a little bit of both Barkley and Daniels? Because I do feel Barkley is the main guy, and Daniels takes advantage of Barkley's ability to run the ball. So what is it in I just want to clarify with you as the Giants analyst, like does that offense run through Barkley?
It's no different than what happens with Tennessee, how their offense really revolves around Derrick Henry and everything else is an offshoot. It's about commanding respect and potentially even forcing the defense into think about too many things. You want them to second guess. You want them to be intimidated. You want them to be hesitant. Barkley does that for the Giants. Henry does that for the Titans. McCaffrey does that for the 49ers. There are certain guys in this league who you have to consider the conduit, and that everything they do, it comes off of that threat. It's not necessarily even him getting the ball every time, because obviously he doesn't touch the ball 60 times a game. He doesn't. But what it's about is the threat and what that guy can do for you to hurt that defense that then you can work stuff off of and keep other teams guessing. I tell people all the time, Lawrence Taylor's the greatest defensive player who ever walked the face of the earth.
Yep.
Did he blitz on every single play? Did he get a sack on every single play? No, he did not. But being on the field made every single quarterback and offensive coordinator think about him every single time they went up to the line of scrimmage. That's what the great ones do.
Yeah, it's all about. It's not only just the substance of the play, but the impact that the player has, regardless if he's directly in on the play himself. Just being his presence on the field makes the impact.
Exactly. He missed stat line alone.
Correct. I have a quick question, we'll get to the if you have time, we'll have I'm sure we'll have some questions. We got some Giant fans in here and Dolphin fans, but I personally have a question only because of I don't really follow the Giants, but I do follow the NFL and hear things here and there. But I did purposely because
you're cutting in and out on me. I'm sorry, I don't know half of your question. Something about the NFL?
Yeah, no, I'll jump back in if somebody else can ask a question. I'm going through.
Yeah, we're cutting out. Oh man.
Hi, Paul. Thank you for coming. I was in line, but my signal got messed up. So my question is they give Daniel Jones that money. I understand Barkley is a big part of the offense, but watching the game, there was just so many bad decisions. It looked like Dayball was frustrated. If you think they're not valuing Saquon, then why do you think they gave him the money then? Because it seems that he can't play without Barkley. It's seeming like.
Well, here's what. First of all, everybody on that offense played poorly the other night, Daniel Jones included. He had a bad game. Obviously, did not protect the ball on the sack. Obviously, made a bad throw down at the goal line, although I do believe there was a receiver that ran a wrong route, because if you watch the placement of those players, the play should not have developed that way. But nonetheless, Daniel should not have thrown the ball when he did, and he'll be the first one to admit that to you. I thought it was his worst performance of the season. But having said that, I complain about this all the time. I don't like the salary cap. I don't like the way the quarterbacks get a huge chunk of it. I don't think any quarterback is worth, the kind of money that they're getting paid. They should get a lot less. I think there should be a salary cap on the quarterbacks within the salary cap of the team. And if you've ever listened to anything that I've said the last 10 years, you know that that's how I feel. This has nothing to do with Daniel Jones. I just think that quarterbacks get way too much a percentage of the salary cap. But having said that, that's the way the market determines. And so I believe Jones is like the 12th highest paid quarterback in the league, I think, somewhere in that vicinity. And I do believe he's a top half quarterback. I think even this year, with the team having the struggles that they are, his talent is definitely in the top half of the league. So, honestly, the market says he's being paid appropriately. I just don't happen to think that quarterbacks should get that large a chunk of anybody's salary cap. And that includes Pat Mahomes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Chad there, French.
Hey, thanks again for your time, Paul. Thanks for coming through and chopping it up with us. Just wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts overall on the Giants' defense? And what do you think is the plan to slow Miami down this Sunday?
Well, the Giants' defense finally started to look like itself against Seattle. They, the offense gave them 14 points between the pick six and the fumble that Jones had inside his own 10. So, there was the one busted play on Fant's catch and run down the sideline, which led to the one legit touchdown that Seattle was actually able to drive for. I thought that the Giants' D, they held them to 281 yards. I believe 3 for 12 on third down conversions. I believe it was Seattle was 2 for 4 in the red zone. I mean, these are all good numbers. And need I tell you, the week before against San Francisco, the Giants held the Niners to 2 for 5 in the red zone. So I think the Giants defense is starting to round into shape, and they started to look a lot more like they're supposed to look against the Seahawks, but the other areas of the team let them down and self-destructed. So what do I think the Giants defense will do against Miami? I'd like to believe that they will put forth a similar effort to what they did against Seattle. I think they can certainly hold Miami into the 20s. I believe that. Miami's had a 124-point game and 120-point game. There's no reason to think that the Giants can't hold them to something along those lines. I believe that. I seriously do. Now, the problem is on the other side of the ball. If Barkley doesn't play, then Miami will not respect the run. And once again, you're in a situation where game flow puts you in a big, big hole. Because if you can't run the ball and then you get behind, it just tilts the entire field and makes your team in an almost impossible situation situation of having to climb uphill the entire night. You know, the Giants offense has not taken a single snap this year with the lead. Think about that for a minute. They took the lead at the end of the Cardinals game. Arizona got the ball back. The Giants offense has not taken a snap with the lead. That is a ridiculous stat and something that almost every team would tell you is an impossible situation to overcome. So what has to happen here? Well, I think the Giants hold Miami to the mid-20s. The Giants offense has to come out, in my opinion, if Barkley doesn't play, they got to come out winging it. And they got to attack, and they got to get up early, and they got to try to get into a passing track meet against Miami. And I know what you're going to say. That's crazy. Miami scored 70 points in a game. Yeah, against the Broncos defense that really didn't even come to play. Sean Payton, I'm sure he's very much ashamed by that effort that day. The Giants' defense is a hell of a lot better than Denver's. So I think the Giants need to try to get up early, and they need to force Tua into making mistakes, and they basically need to try to get into a game that's going to be in the mid to high 20s. I think that's their best chance to win.
Thank you so much, Paul. Really quick, I feel like the Broncos came to play. I just feel like we broke their will, which I'm kind of hoping for on Sunday. But let's just say the Dolphins come out in a bit of a shootout, a 40-17 kind of game. What does it look like for Dayball at the end of the season if the season kind of careens out of control? Does he have that stability, or does he have just kind of the head nod from the front office, or do you think conversations can be had? I know it's year one, but I just want to kind of talk and figure out.
No, well, it's year two. Year one, he was coach of the year. The Giants are all about stability. They're all about stability, especially after the previous coaches that they went through between McAdoo and Shermer and Judge. They're all about stability. So your hypothetical, I think it would require something totally from Mars for the Giants to even contemplate making any kind of change by the end of the season. It is such a hypothetical that it's not even worth having that conversation. And quite frankly, I don't think that's going to happen anyway. I think the Giants will be respectable, even if they wind up only winning 7 or 8 games this year. They're going to be respectable enough because I have too much belief in the roster and the talent that's on this team. And I have too much belief in this coaching staff that they're not going to spiral down into the bottom of the drain. I just don't see it.
So just to follow up and build on what French said, basically the rumors that we've seen, in your opinion, are greatly exaggerated as far as Dable being on the hot seat. Is that correct?
Paul, can you hear us?
I got you back again. Yeah, you guys keep fading in and out. I don't know what's going on.
That's great. Did you hear my question about what I was building off?
I got you there a second ago. Now it seems like you're going away again.
Yeah,
he was asking just kind of building off what I was saying. Some of those reports that we're seeing on the Twitter feed about him possibly being on the hot seat. Do you think that's more fodder, or do you think there's some smoke there?
Twitter is a great vehicle for people's imaginations, and I think it's probably best I just leave it right there.
It actually, I don't know if you can hear me now, but it wasn't actually on Twitter. I think it was on Bleacher Report that I saw. But again, I think the same rules apply with Bleacher Report. I'll leave it at that.
Go ahead, Wally.
Well, hold on, man. Hold on.
Go ahead, Mechanic, then Wally.
You know what? Wally is the new speaker. I do apologize. Go ahead, Wally. Now go after him. My fault. I should have.
No, man, go ahead, man. Wait, it's cool.
Oh, I was just gonna ask you about the injuries. So far, I saw that your rookie center, which I loved, coming out the draft. He didn't practice, and Andrew Thomas as well. Have you heard anything as far as are they projected maybe to play, or you think they'll be out heading to this game on Sunday?
Yeah, Thomas. I'm not very optimistic about Andrew Thomas. He's missed a couple games already with the hamstring. He tried to do some stuff about a week or so ago, and they had to shut him down. So I'm not overly optimistic about Andrew Thomas as we sit here tonight. The chances of Schmitz, that's anybody's guess right now, because they still got an opportunity to practice tomorrow and on Friday, and we're just going to have to wait and see how he feels and if he's able to actually function. Dable did not seem too pessimistic. He was telling us he thinks Schmitz has a chance to make the game. but obviously we'll know more in the next 48 hours. But those, in terms of those two, I think those are on opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm optimistic for Schmitz. I'm not so optimistic for Thomas.
Thank you. Go ahead, Wally.
Man, hey, thank you for your time, Paul. I just had a quick question. What's going on with that offense? Is Brian Daboll's second year? You added Waller. I know this would be a little bit of maybe a conflict because of Saquon's contract, but you kind of did give Daniel Jones a bit of more weapons, more stability. So why isn't it clicking? Why are we overblowing the fights or what the Twitter world's doing with the tablet throwing and what are you doing type crap? Why isn't this? I mean, it's early still, but the signs aren't really good given what the games have shown. But it's still the first quarter of the season.
Yeah, the stuff on the sideline is just natural emotion and frustration, which everybody on that sideline respects each other. And I know there weren't tablets years ago, but I could personally tell you some of the things that Parcells used to have in terms of conversations, screaming matches, et cetera, with his Super Bowl champion Giants, and that makes what happens today pale in comparison. Okay, so let me make something real clear. That is like so not a story, except for people who need to blow up Twitter, need to blow up talk radio, and need something to talk about. Anybody who knows anything about the National Football League, who has ever been on a sideline during a game, as I have been for decades, knows that that is a non-story. So let me just get that out of the way for you first. Second item about the offense. Offense obviously victimized without Barkley and Thomas. As I say, those two injuries, those two absences are dramatically felt much more than anybody could have imagined. All right, so here's what I'm telling you. If you're hampered because of the personnel issues, you got your guard trying to go out there and play left tackle. You got your backup running backs going, and these guys don't necessarily force other teams to game plan for them, and they're not scared or intimidated by them, and they can load up, and then you get down by a couple of scores, and now you're climbing uphill all over again. Look, the truth of the matter is, all right, in all honesty, I know people keep saying, well, you're just making excuses. Jesus, let me ask you a question. If you had a brand new Ferrari in your garage and someone said, look, man, I want you to take that sucker out for a spin, but we're going to remove one of the tires. And, oh, by the way, we're also going to screw up your carburetor. How well you think that Ferrari's going to run out of your garage?
I feel you on that, Paul. But the question I'm going to ask is who recommended that mechanic? Who recommended that guy to me?
So hold on. So their offensive line is a shit show, just like ours. You can relate, man. We have a lot of things in common.
Well, in all honesty, and I know that they've tried for years and years to fix it. We know that Andrew Thomas was second team All NFL last year. He's as good a left tackle as there is in football, but right now he's not available. So guess what? You got a problem. You got a rookie center who looks like he's really good, and now on Monday night he was unavailable, gets hurt early in the game, and you see some of the stuff that happened. You see that at left guard, they went through three left guards in the game. They went from Bredesen to Lemieux to Glowinski. They had to go through three left guards. That's obviously not a good situation. And then on the right side, Evan Neal is still trying to figure things out. The guy needs a little patience, but he's still trying to figure things out. And then McKeithen is a young guy they really like a lot, but he's basically a redshirt rookie because last year he lost an entire season to a serious knee injury. So, I guess what I'm saying to you is anybody who expected this line to be golden from week one was making a serious mistake and didn't have their eyes open. You had to know that there would be some growing pains, and then it was going to take some time. And then on top of that, when the injuries get factored in, it's only natural to expect that there's going to be some significant problems.
Charlie, go ahead, and we're going to pivot back. I have a question right after Charlie. Go ahead and cook.
Hey, Paul. It's Charlie. How you doing?
Hi.
I caught up with you. Hey, look, I mean, Seattle they lost four starting offensive linemen. Gino ended up with a, sprained ankle. He was out of the game. He came back. He was on one leg. The Ravens, they had about 8 or 9 guys out, starters, and their O-line was devastated. The difference is, Paul, they have a quarterback who can overcome some of those things. And right now, we do not have a quarterback who can do that. That game was over when Jones threw
Charlie,
that pick
Charlie,
six.
hold on really quick. Charlie,
Yeah.
Charlie, did you have a question for Paul? Because we're
I'm
going to get
getting
to
to
that.
the question.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's all right. So it isn't just about the O-line. Yeah, our O-line is a mess, Paul. I agree with you. I've been saying that for years, right? You too. But other teams overcome that. We cannot. And the other thing
Before you go anywhere with this, Charlie, did Seattle and Baltimore have their starting running backs available?
No, actually, Ravens did not. Dobbins is
Ravens did not. Seattle did. Seattle did. They had Walker and Charbonnet.
Hey, I was the one who wanted to pay Barkley, and everybody else doesn't because they didn't think we need a running back, right?
See that, but Charlie, that's where you and I agree. Saquon Barkley is critical to this team.
Oh, exactly. I totally agree with you. So I guess, and the other thing you said about Denver's defense is god awful. Well, we've given up more points than their defense has, and they gave up 70 in one game. They have 102 points against them. We have 112. So their defense was horrible in one game, and that's because Miami was on fire. And so our defense played against backups, offensive line, Geno on one leg. So you see them getting better. I say they played against backups and they look better. So we're going to see this week if this defense is better,
Okay.
That's the way I see
No.
it. Thanks,
Charlie,
Paul.
I can speak for you. Like this, yeah, Charlie, this is going to be a bit of a get right game. Like your only hope in this game right now is, I would say you could slow down the offense, but I feel like with the way the run game is on and us getting back and this being a home game, I feel like it's going to be one of those good old fashioned take out to the woodshed. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, I think I watched the Broncos game. I did see that game, and I don't want to besmirch Denver any more than they already did it to themselves. But that was wow. I mean, I thought when Dallas whacked the Giants 40-0 that was about as bad as it could get. And then I watched that game, and I saw a bunch of Denver players that just did not even want to play that game. So no, that performance was as bad as it gets. It was historic, that's for sure. I will say this. Look at the numbers from this Seattle game if you wish. And again, red zone, third down percentage, total yards of offense. Giants played a good game defensively against Seattle. They let one broken play go to Fant, which gave up the big play that gave Seattle that touchdown. Yeah, absolutely. There's no question. They had two missed tackles on the play. He went down the sideline. You can't have that happen, and it burned them. There's no question about that. I can't dispute it. It's on tape. But the rest of that game, that defense was playing really, really well. And if they play that way this Sunday against Miami's not scoring more than 27 points.
Okay. Well, Paul, thank you so much for your time, and this has been great. I have one quick question for you. Here on the show, we like to do a weekly bet with our guests. We give you the option of choosing either you can do an avatar bet where we send you our avatar for a week. You could either do the push-ups.
I'm contractually obligated never to make bets of any type based on the contract that I signed. So I can't do your game. I'm sorry.
I got you. You know what? We'll throttle that one. We'll spend that maybe next season. We'll revisit that.
All right, guys. You have a great night.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you so much for your time, my friend. And can you give me a quick score prediction on your way out?
Well, I think there are so many more ways to win for the Dolphins than there are for the Giants. I try to put it on a scale and say, well, if this team's going to win, how many different ways can they do it? And then how many different ways can the other team win? The scale heavily favors the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to say 27-17 Miami.
Okay.
I think there are too many ways for the Dolphins to win this game, even if the Giants play well defensively.
Last one on the way out the door. The Giants win this game because
if they win this game, it's because the passing game throttles Miami's defense, and they're able to win a pinball game, and that would be, let's say, 27-24, something along those lines, 30-27, something like that. That's the kind of game it's got to be for the Giants to win. I don't think the odds of that are very good, but that's the kind of game that they can win, I believe, if it plays out like that, because I could see Tua throwing a couple of picks, maybe getting a strip sack. If the Giants defense is going to be as ferocious and as sharp as they could be. Again, they haven't necessarily been to that standard this year. No question about it. But they got close to it last week. If they can play to their capabilities defensively, they'll get 2 or 3 turnovers. They're the only team in the NFL right now that has not had a takeaway. That's got to stop. Tua's thrown a pick in 3 of the first 4 games. All right? They're going to have to get at least 1 takeaway from this Miami team and then get the Giants offense to get that passing game clicking. Again, the odds are not good, but that's the path of victory the Giants need to take.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you so much. Do you want to plug anything you're working on this upcoming week that we can check out?
Well, fellas, you can always catch me on the Giants radio pregame show every week, as well as the MSG Giants postgame show here in New York. And then Big Blue Kickoff Live is on Giants.com Mondays through Fridays at 12:30 Eastern time on Giants.com. So I'm a busy guy and hope to enjoy the rest of the season. And you guys do the same, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. Everybody, if you could give Paul get some love and give him a follow as well. He's doing excellent work for the Giants, man. We definitely look forward to chopping it up, maybe sending a couple messages after the game and get some of your points, man. But thank you so much for joining us, man. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Awesome, man. All right, man.